HBC kids, it's Miss Rachel, and I hope you guys have had such an awesome week so far. Thank you for listening with me here today. We're going to read a story today called A Giant Staircase to Heaven. And this story is really cool because a lot of crazy stuff happens, but it's really going to teach you why there's only one true way to get to heaven, and that's by trusting Jesus in your heart as your Lord and Savior. A Giant Staircase to Heaven. Noah and his family lived in the land, and his children had children, and those children had more children, and then those children had even more. Well, you get the picture. Until there were lots of people on the earth once more. Now, back then, everyone spoke exactly the same language. You didn't need to learn Swahili or Japanese or anything, because you could say hello to anyone and they knew exactly what you meant. One day, everyone was talking and they came up with an idea. Let's build ourselves a beautiful city to live in. It can be our home and we'll be safe forever and ever. Then they had another idea. And let's build a really tall tower to reach up to heaven. Yes, they said. We'll say, look at us up here. And everyone will look up at us. And we'll look down on them. And then we'll know we are something. We'll be like God. We'll be famous and safe and happy, and everything will be all right. So they got to work. Brick by brick, and the tower grew higher and higher until it soared above the city, touching the sky. They built stairs in the tower to climb to the top. It was like a giant staircase to heaven. Look, they cheered, we're the ones. See what we can do with our very own hands. They were quite pleased with themselves. But God wasn't pleased with them. God could see what they were doing. They were trying to live without Him. But God knew that wouldn't make them happy or safe or anything like that. If they kept on like this, they would only destroy themselves. And God loved them too much to let that happen. So He stopped their plans. One morning, they went to work as usual, but everything was different. Their words were all new and funny. You see, God had given each person a completely different language. Suddenly, no one understood what anyone else was saying. You would say, "How do you do?" And the other person thought they said, "How ugly are you?" It wasn't funny. You could be saying something nice like, "Such a lovely morning, isn't it?" And get a punch in the nose because someone thought you said, "Hush up, you're boring." You couldn't even say, "Pardon?" to check if you'd heard that right, because no one understood that word either. It wasn't easy to work together after that, as you can only imagine. People were always quarreling and fighting and getting in a dreadful muddle and becoming grumpier and grumpier, until at last they were all too cross to keep on building, and they just had to stop. After that, people scattered all over the world, which is how we ended up with so many different languages today. You see, God knew however high they reached, however hard they tried, people could never get back to heaven by themselves. People didn't need a staircase. They needed a rescuer. Because the way back to heaven wasn't a staircase, it was a person. People could never reach up to heaven, so heaven would have to come on down to them. And one day, it would. That's the end of our story today, guys. I am so thankful for every single one of you, and I appreciate you guys coming here and listening with me today. I'm so glad that God sent his only son down to earth to rescue all of us. And even though there's some scary things going on in the world today, I know that he's always going to continue to rescue us and that we don't have anything to fear as long as we trust Jesus in our heart. I love each and every one of you so much, and I hope you have a great weekend.